Okay, let's continue our growth track course, our home plate, fourth class in the growth track course. This class is on leadership, and we're answering the question, are you giving back? So much has been given to us, and so we owe a great debt of gratitude and service to our master. A key question for this class is this: if you could push a button and become a better leader, what thing or things from your current life would disappear? Think about that. If you could just reach out and here's a button, you push this red button, beep, and you're a better leader. What in your life right now would just disappear so that you are now this better leader? Well, if you can answer that, then maybe you have found a shortcut to becoming a better leader. Go ahead and get rid of that thing that you know would disappear if you were a better leader. Maybe you're super sensitive, hypersensitive. You get all uptight and out of sorts about the most minute inconvenience. And you're like, well, if I was a better leader, I wouldn't have that problem. Okay, well, then maybe that's the problem we got to work on to get rid of. So we can all lead better. None of us are perfect leaders. Whether you're just leading at home or you're leading at your job site or you're leading in a grace group or a Sunday school class or in some area of ministry, whatever it is that you're doing to lead others, we can all be better leaders. So we want to talk about leading better. You've heard the old saying, insanity is continuing to do the same thing, but expecting different results. So if we want to lead better, then we got to do some things differently in order to improve. We can't keep doing the same things and expect to have better results. So 3 things concerning leading better. First of all, to grow in our abilities, we have to go to new places, interact with new people, attempt new things, and explore new strategies. They won't all work, by the way. You won't always be comfortable. You won't always feel safe. You won't always be liked. You won't always like the new things that you're doing. But if you're going to lead better, you've got to broaden your horizons. You've got to look beyond what your current circle and sphere of familiarity is. You got to get out of your comfort zone. And so we all need to grow our abilities, but to do that, we're going to have to experience some things that we haven't experienced before. So let's include some new things. I'm not talking about doing things that are wrong. I'm talking about doing things that are different, things that we are not familiar with. And it will challenge us, it will stretch us, and we can become better leaders as a result. Number 2, to grow in our impact, we have to adopt a bigger vision and embrace the changes and the loss of control that comes with expansion. There's a statement that I've heard many, many times in the past half a dozen years. You can have control. This is the statement. You can have control or you can have growth, but you can't have both. Because as things grow, your ability to control them obviously lessens. It's perhaps not too difficult to control a baby or a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. But how about a 16-year-old? How about a 26-year-old? Okay. And the truth is, as the child grows and becomes a man or becomes a woman, if we're doing it well, then they actually need fewer controls. They need fewer regulations. They need less of our involvement. As a son becomes a man, he doesn't need a helicopter father always, minutely manipulating everything that he does and micromanaging his life. Not if he's been reared well and he's accepted the rearing that has been poured into him, then you lose control. But that's okay. That's part of growth. That's part of expansion. A lady, or a man, either one, who is growing up, they're not helped by the devouring mother who demands, some kind of symbiotic relationship with this child that really could probably best be labeled codependent. So yes, To grow in our impact, we have to adopt a bigger vision of what God can accomplish through us. And in order to do that, we've got to embrace the changes and embrace the loss of control that comes with expansion. That's part of being a better leader. And that leads to the third point, which is that if we're going to be a better leader, we need to grow in discipline, in maturity, and in faith. And to grow in discipline, maturity, and faith, we have to sacrifice comforts. We have to improve our habits. We have to attempt impossible things. Someone called this, I read a book somewhere, this was called a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. Yeah, a BHAG, a big, hairy, audacious goal. So we have to attempt impossible things, and we have to depend on God's providence and on God's promises. So do you want to be a better leader? I want to be a better leader. Well, then we're going to have to do some things that are different. We're going to have to not just be different for the sake of being different, not just change for change's sake, but finding better ways to do the same things and finding new things to do that will accomplish the mission, and finding bigger missions to get involved in. All of these things will help us to be better leaders. We might need to be involved in more people's lives in order to be a better leader, or this is a novel concept, you might need to be involved in fewer people's lives in order to be a better leader. Jesus was not intimate with 120 disciples, though he had 120 faithful disciples that he left behind after his ascension. But he was intimate with 12. And even among those 12, he was super intimate with only 3 of them. And even among those 3, the one that was closest to him was John, the apostle. So I can't imagine we would say anybody has led better than Jesus has led. His doctrine, his teaching, his philosophy, his religion, his way of viewing the world, his perspective, his paradigm, every description you can come up with is still around 2,000 years after his departure. And it wasn't because, yes, he did preach to thousands, but it wasn't because he preached to thousands. It was because of what he did with the 12. And actually, it was just 11, because one of them was a farce. One of them was Judas Iscariot. He was a spy of the devil. So really, it was just 11 guys that Jesus worked through in order to change the world. So leading better might look like you being involved in fewer people's lives, but being involved with more intentionality and with greater, bigger goals for that group. So lead better, be a better leader, become a better leader, always expanding, always improving.